Hello and welcome, I'm Joshua Barnes, and today we'll be diving into an insightful discussion on US President-elect Donald Trump's remarks on the H-1B visa. US President-elect Donald Trump has said he supports immigration visas for highly skilled workers. He appeared to side with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy in the roiling intra-MAGA debate on the issue. The argument broke out after Ramaswamy blamed American culture for US firms deciding to hire skilled workers from other countries. Ramaswamy's views were backed by Elon Musk. He defended the program, saying the reason he is in America, along with so many critical people that made America strong, is because of H-1B. The tech barons argued that the program is critical to ensuring American companies can find highly skilled labour. They added that this may not be easily available in the US labour force and must be expanded. After the argument raged online for days, unlike his past beliefs, Trump extended his support for the program. He said that he has been a believer in H-1B and has many H-1B visas on his property. Trump promised that mass deportations of undocumented immigrants would start immediately after he took office. MAGA hardliners want Trump to follow through with his promise to promote US workers and impose tougher restrictions on immigration. Today we are joined by four guests. Starting off, we have Rajiv Malhotra, founder and president of Infinity Foundation in Princeton, USA. We have Dr. Jayjat Bhattacharya, a president at CDEPR. We have Rabinder Sachdev, foreign affairs expert. And finally, we have Ambassador Suresh Goel. Suresh, I'd like to come to you first on this one. There's been a lot of debate amongst MAGA supporters considering Trump's stance, but looking at his backing of both of the Doge co-chairs, we of course have Vivek Ramaswamy and the world's richest man, Elon Musk. Where do you think this sits in terms of that debate over immigration? Is it Trump conceding, or is it a separate issue entirely?
Too early to say, I would think. If I recall the statements made by Trump over a period of time, and that is after his win and he becoming the president-elect. Earlier, there was a feeling that he's going to be anti-immigration, which he is, but he clarified very soon, within, I think, 1 week or something, that he is against illegal immigration. And it was very clear that he's not going to be really opposing immigration of the people who are actually coming in accordance with the legal processes. Now, whether this was actually already conceding to the hardliners or not is a different matter. Number two, I think this Trump, and I'm coming to now realize this Trump is different from the Trump 1.0. And you don't see either Nikki Haley or other advisors, hardliners Republicans, in his picks, in his choices. One could very well say that his choices are determined by the loyalty to his own agenda. But the fact is that when he handed over DOGE, D-O-G-E, call it Dodge, Dog, whatever it is, when he handed over this department or not department to Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, he knew they had a different view on the immigration. Elon Musk is a businessman. He needs professionals to run the company. Vivek Ramaswamy himself is an immigrant, a professional immigrant. And therefore, I think we knew that there would be a change, and he articulated that much. Therefore, I don't think that this Trump, what he's saying now, is any kind of going back on the track of what he said earlier after the election. It's pretty much the same. And lastly, I would say, if you want to really work on the American economy, you need professionals. You don't need jocks.
Absolutely. Rabinder Sachdev, I'd like to come to you next. In terms of MAGA supporters, do you think there's a difference and an issue here between what Trump fans are thinking versus what Trump is thinking? And do you think the conversation over immigration, which is happening across the world, is maybe being lost with potential propaganda over Mexico and Canada, and also the influence of the drug trade as well?
Thank you so much. I mean, the Mexican drug trade and all, I'll come to that separately maybe. In a big picture, what I see is that there is, if not a rift, a serious soul searching going on within the MAGA Trump supporters camp. The point is, as Ambassador Goel mentioned, On the one hand, the issue is illegal immigration, right? So like everyone, MAGA, Musk and all, Ramaswamy, Trump say illegal should be out. The question now is about legal immigration. Now, in legal immigration, yes, America needs H-1B, America needs the talent, and Trump has said that anyone who does a master's in the US should get a green card stapled. You know, on that count, I should have two green cards stapled to my passport. But aside, what is happening on the legal side is that MAGA, the core, they have, one element of MAGA has something known as a great replacement theory, which is their intellectual basis that immigrants coming into America, any immigrants should not come in. Because the immigrants who come in, the non-whites who come in, they're looking to, replace or become the majority vis-a-vis the white Anglo-American citizens as of now. So what we are seeing, and this I see will lead to further schisms and dynamics within MAGA, because there's a huge constituency within MAGA which is broadly opposed to immigration. Forget illegal. Illegal is one component. They say that we just do not want any immigrants, be it legal or whatsoever. So that's one schism which I see developing within the MAGA and amongst Trump supporters. Sure, Ramaswamy and Musk themselves, Musk himself on a F1 student visa, I think, and then a H1, and then a green card, and then a citizen. And he needs these people, talent for his companies, Tesla and SpaceX. And in fact, he's threatening virtually. He's saying that if something, is kind of, discussed about that, I will go to war like nobody's business ever thought about before. So he's threatening virtually very harshly. On the other hand, Trump is kind of, carrying both the illegal, okay, illegal everyone agrees, but the legal is where I think the battle lines are going to be drawn. Lastly, I will say, Vivek Ramaswamy's statement is very, very interesting. He says this is not American culture. He'll run into problems on that, I would guess. Sure. And he's saying, Americans are all mediocre right now, etc. But American culture for the MAGA people, for Trump, is, the culture of America, the foundational culture of America. The city on the top of a hill, liberty, freedom, etc., etc. So when Ramaswamy is saying that this is not American culture, I think he's treading on dangerous grounds. Yes, what he's referring to is the America of today. He's saying that, maybe kids don't study STEM, they don't, value, hard work, etc. Yeah, that's what's happening to America. That is the culture of America, no doubt, as of today. Changes are happening. But that is not the foundational culture of America. Whereas MAGA, for them, the idea is make America great again with respect to what? The foundational culture of America, an America founded on ethics of Calvinism, Protestantism, work hard, get rewarded, etc. So if it comes across and, property and home ownership and gun rights and all those issues, that's the foundational culture of America. So if that starts to come into conflict with what Ramaswamy is saying, that this is not the culture of America of today, I think he's saying that, we promote mediocrity, we give good grades, inflated grades. That's a huge controversy also. You're pampering your kids and all. He's right on that. But I think it could run into a conflict between what it means to be defining the culture of America today. So that's a huge debate, and I think it will expose many rifts between different schools or ideologies of thoughts and political support fragmenting. This has potential to fragment the MAGA camp.
Dr. Jayjit Bhattacharya, I'd like to come to you next in terms of what this could mean for the American economy. We know Trump is on somewhat of a warpath, looking at the tariffs that he's hoping to impose or threatening to impose amongst his top three trading partners. But if there is any issue with skilled workers coming into America, or if there's a discussion which might lead to future changes in this policy, what could the impact be in America and specifically to the economy that we know is such a key point for Trump in his upcoming administration?
You know, in the economy, and especially the US economy, imports three key things. It imports goods, it imports services, and it imports people. And in case of US, the importation of people is a very critical import. If you know, as the other panelists have been saying, and if you look at the top technocrats in US, most of them are immigrants. Having said that, are the next generation, are the current Americans not being focused on STEM? Well, if you look at the universities, they're actually full of second generation Asian Americans who are Americans, and they are pretty focused. So I'm not entirely sure whether Vivek Ramaswamy's statement is correct or it was racist in nature. It depends on what is the color he's saying. But Americans are focused. It doesn't matter where they came from. And in terms of the economic impact, if you take away the creme de la creme of the world coming to US, it obviously has an impact because the engine of growth is people. And if you look at the quantum of people being imported, it's about 3/4 of a million people who are getting H-1B visas every year. So over a 10-year period, that's roughly about 2% of the US population. But this 2% are the engine of growth. They are pulling the rest of the 98% of the US population. And not only that, look at the innovations that have come up by immigrants in US. You look at Elon Musk's own companies, which is the Neuralink, the SpaceX, Tesla, and so on. These are engines of growth for the rest of the economy also, not just the US economy, but the global economy. So if this ecosystem is cut off because of political reasons and policies like the ones that we are discussing, then it's a loss for the entire world because we will not see this kind of innovation coming up, because that density of very high performing people are not being put together in one place, which US is being able to do with their current policies. So it's a global loss in that sense. Clearly, if you combine that with the rest of the threatenings in terms of tariffs being jacked up, then there will be a slowdown in not just the US economy, but the global economy, because cost of goods will go up. As it is, there is significant inflation for the poorer people in US. If you speak, ignore the overall inflation rate, which itself is high, but if you go and speak to the taxi drivers in the big cities of New York and so on, they'll start reeling you out the numbers. An $8 per carton of milk is now costing about $12, which is almost a 50% hike. So for these sets of people, the inflation has already been quite significant. And on top of it, if we start having increased import duties, the cost of goods in US will also increase quite significantly. And along with it, if there's a shortage of labor, it'll be a very toxic economic combination that we're talking about. It'll be quite destructive for US, and therefore it'll be destructive for the rest of the world also.
Looking at one of the key players that we have in this, Ambassador Suresh Goel, Elon Musk is somebody who there have been questions raised about the potential wrestle of power between himself and Donald Trump. This is again something he's spoken about and had support from Trump on. So how do you think that power dynamic is working currently? And do you think that Elon Musk potentially has more influence over the policies and the decisions that are made in this upcoming administration and government? And how do you think this is maybe a sign of that, if so?
Let me put it this way. I think we are trying to really jump the gun, if I would to say in a more or less a rhetorical fashion. But the point really is that Trump has not taken over as yet as the president. But there are still so many more steps to go, and therefore for us to judge how the equation between Donald Trump and Elon Musk is going to carry out is a bit too early, presumptuous, I would say, and we need to wait. Number two, I think that's very, very important. Donald Trump is an elected president. He will be the president. And eventually everything will depend upon his decision making. In that process, he will depend upon Elon Musk. He may depend upon Nikki Haley if he chooses to do so later on. But that is his choice. He will choose his advisors. And ultimately, he will be taking the decisions and either go by the decisions, they will benefit or whatever it is. Therefore, I don't think we should really jump too early into the power dynamics between the two. All said and done, Elon Musk is a very influential person. He's a successful businessman. And most importantly, his decision making is as unpredictable as Donald Trump's. So I think they are made for each other.
Looking at the Republican Party and looking at a potential divide on one issue with MAGA supporters as well, Rabinder Sachdev, do you think that there is potential for more cracks to form as a result of this, not just this issue, but immigration as a whole? We obviously saw during Trump's first term promises made regarding Mexico and a wall to be built, that Mexico were going to pay for it, which didn't end up happening. There have been similar claims and threats, not about a wall, but in terms of tackling immigration and a hard line on that. Do you think that this is potentially an unravelling for Trump in terms of that hardline stance during his election campaign versus what the reality will be? And how could that divide MAGA supporters?
Sure, sir. I mean, I would divide this once again into two parts. One, I'll come back to this whole discussion about H1 and talent and America and legal immigration, which America needs or wants and has to be a magnet to attract the talent to keep its competitiveness, its innovation going and, furthering. That has been the formula for America. One. Secondly, regarding Mexico and Canada and other things, I'll again keep them aside. What I think is going to, or not is going to, I don't know, but it seems to me, definitely yes, there is going to be an unraveling within the MAGA camp on this whole issue of immigration, legal immigration. See, the point is, bottom line, MAGA concept is a white America, a Protestant America, a Christian America, a church-going America, religion, Christianity in America, right? So keep aside the illegals. They have to be, maybe sent out of America in the grand scheme of things, and Trump's or whosoever's, right? The issue will come down to the legal immigrants. In legal, and therefore in legal immigration, the issue is, yeah, we need legal immigration of talent. That's what America has been, to keep on its innovation engine going. That will run into a conflict, and that is running into a conflict right now with the whole idea that we do not want any quote-unquote foreign people in our country. That's the bottom line of what MAGA wants or what MAGA thinks. So this will bring up this conflict. Sure, it'll come to some kind of a dynamic equilibrium, wherein, what Musk is pushing for and Trump. By the way, I'm really struck by the statement of Musk. I've never been struck by statements of Musk as to his philosophy, what he's doing. But his tweet yesterday, which I quoted right now, was that something to the lines, quote, ... If you still think I am wrong, I will go to war in this issue like nothing you have ever imagined before. To me, that sounds aggression, that sounds arrogance. Sure, that sounds what he believes in, and he's going to go to war on that. And he's right on that, maybe. Not maybe, he's right on that exactly because America needs that. America needs imported talent, as I think Dr. Bhattacharya was mentioning. America is built upon immigrant talent. That's the founding of America. But the America of today, the MAGA world is absolutely not interested or wanting or welcoming talent from, I would put it very bluntly, let's say non-European, non-white backgrounds. That's the reality. And that, builds into, again, folks like Laura Loomer, the far right and all. They have this theory that they may be, legal, they may be merit-based, but their ultimate objective is to bring in bigger numbers of their family and tribes into America and replace or, be larger in numbers than, quote unquote, let's say the white Christian Americans. So how will Trump reconcile these? And how will Musk? But yes, Trump may be able to carry this forward as a matter of common sense. By the way, remember, Trump's entire manifesto is based upon common sense. So there is really no doubt a lot of common sense Trump is talking about. Will he be able to bring about this common sense within broader America that we, the country, the immigrants, the legal immigrants are the engine. If not, they're the sole engines, but they are. I mean, you cannot be telling Americans that it's only the immigrants talented who are the engine of America. I mean, who would? I mean, you cannot say that it's only the incoming immigrants who can take America forward. No, the folks who are in America are talented. Yes, we always need more talent coming to keep our engine going. And it's a war of talent. He could point out that, the only distinction between America and China is if China had English language and, freer policies, world's talent will start going to China. So America has to keep itself as a beacon of free world opportunities, etc. So Trump will, I mean, this is something very interesting. I think it kind of, it came up or it bubbled up, this whole debate very soon and in deep ideological manners. It will.
I want to
If
look at
not,
that bubbling up. Dr. Bhattacharya, I want to bring it back to this government that are coming in, the Republican government that are coming into power. We've seen conversations like we're having now bubbling up off the back of some tweets and some comments that have been made about something. Is this, do you think, a blueprint for what we're going to see over the Trump presidency over the next 4 years in terms of the influence that these people have across social media, which has now become so important in all of our lives? Do you think this is foreshadowing what we're going to see in terms of provocative statements like Elon Musk's regarding war over something which, let's be honest, isn't a huge topic in terms of not just current politics in America, but also the election campaigns. We've mentioned already the sort of borders and illegal immigration. So this blowing up over something smaller than that as a topic, do you think this is going to happen continuously over the next 4 years? And could it really impact American politics moving forward?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Unfortunately, I have to agree with what you're saying, which is sad because let me take one statement from a commentator from the television and Coulter, who told Vivek Ramaswamy that I agree with many things you said, but I would not have voted for you just because you are an Indian. So there seems to be a schism coming up between those who believe they are natives of US and those who have come in through the immigrant route. And there seems to be a fear and inferiority between the native or the so-called native US folks versus those who have come in through the immigration route in the recent years. In fact, that angst is also manifesting against the second generation and third generation of immigrants, and that's really quite perplexing because President Trump or President-elect Trump himself is a third generation immigrant. His grandfather had immigrated from Germany. Now, at some point in time in US, there was a debate that we're not having the right kind of Europeans coming in because anything below the middle of Europe was considered to be the wrong kind, which is, the Italians and so on and so forth, were treated as a wrong kind of immigrants. So I think again and again over a cycle, US contorts itself into these kind of conversations and discussions, which feeds into the public, which feeds into the fear of the public. But if we step back and look at US as a black box and look at the way it has grown and it's been an engine of growth for the rest of the world, immigrations and immigrants have played a very critical role. Even if if the immigrants are not the most educated, the fact that they are able to support the population of US itself is a significant contribution because you look at the growth of population US, it's about 0.5%. If the immigrants were not there, it would be in the same situation that Korea is, where there's a degrowth happening. Now, in that situation, both the domestic market will start reducing, faith in US as an economy will start reducing, and therefore faith in US dollar as a currency will start going down, and it'll start getting into another vicious cycle which will be difficult for the US economy to manage. So they're sitting on a branch, and cutting that branch is what this whole immigration issue is all about. I don't think the regular, if I can again continue to use the word Native Americans, understand how America works from an economic perspective, what has been the magic formula for its success. And by targeting immigrants again and again, the wrong kind of Europeans, the wrong kind of Asians, and whatever what they're thinking, that's really hitting them in the root of what the US economy really stands for.
Dr. Jayajat Bhattacharya, thank you so much for joining us. Also, thank you, Rabinder Sachdev, and thank you, Ambassador Suresh Goel. We will, of course, continue to bring you all of the latest updates ahead of Trump's inauguration, and we'll continue to report on the Republican Party as they come into power. For now, that's all we have time for. Keep tuned into NewsX World. Thank you.